Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of my favorite match ever. And I am joined by the Maserati Minute himself, the thing that he said he was going to do and he never did.
Wasabi Jones?
On Twitter, not your daddy's daycare, Mr. Wesley Barkley.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Yes, sir.
And the premise of the show is pretty self-explanatory.
Okay.
It is about what you think, to this point, your favorite match ever in AIW has been.
Wow. See, I've been procrastinating this one because I really don't know. Man.
And I mean,
I got a couple.
You could revisit it. You could revisit it down the line. I'm
Sure.
just saying, to this point,
Right.
in your blossoming career.
Thanks. All right, well, let's put it like this. Debut, we came in hot, and that was unreal. But, like, the match was sweet. Got the win, which was awesome. A lot of hard work, and it was cool.
A lot of animosity formed towards you that night.
Oh, sure. A lot of tension in the building. Mount Carmel, too. Yeah. You know what I mean? The only time I ever got to wrestle on Mount Carmel, classic.
R.I.P.
So, sweet match.
It's not your favorite, though.
It's not my favorite, though. But it's up there, and it's one of the greatest days of my life. Then, I got to wrestle Nick Gage, which was pretty crazy, I saw him my whole life just kicking ass and taking names. And then I'm in the ring with him, and he's beating me up, busting me open. I never really thought that was going to happen, but you know what? Man.
It's your favorite match. Come on. I know you overthink everything.
I do.
You got to know.
Wrestle Rager this year was pretty fun. I got to be in there with Filthy Tom and Nick Gage with my brother from another mother, the intense icon Joshua
For
Bishop.
those out there listening at home, Wes Barkley overanalyzes every single minuscule detail of his career. As you could tell, as he is analyzing everything before he even picks what he thinks is his favorite match ever. It's not that hard of a question.
Hey, man. I got all of them are favorites. Yeah, you're right. I do overthink a lot of stuff. All right, well, let's go with this. This has to be my favorite match because, well, let's just say the match first. Me and Eddie Kingston, Wrestle Rager 3.
Deathmatch Jamboree.
Deathmatch Jamboree. Right. Was that Deathmatch Jamboree?
Yeah.
4 was Raven. 3 was Deathmatch Jamboree with the main event. You were in the main event. I was semi-main?
Yeah, because I was getting ready before you were when you were going out there.
Yeah. Okay, so me and Eddie Kingston, Wrestle Rager. Definitely my favorite match. That was unreal.
Why is it? Why do you think it's your favorite match?
All right, so Eddie Kingston growing up, that was probably my, I was into indie wrestling, but that was probably one of my favorite dudes to do it. I was telling people in school to bundle up because it's a cold world, like swear, And
from what, like Chikara? YouTube? Like how do you even discover Chikara? YouTube?
So I remember just like early internet stuff, message boards, kind of seeing this, that. And I remember seeing like Chikara. I was like, what the hell is this? Like Shane Storm and all these Ultra Mantis. I'm like, who are these guys? What is this? And then they're at the ECW arena. And then like I really started getting into indie wrestling. And I talked about it on the podcast with Dom. Was I remember getting a flyer from either one of you or Potato. I don't know who. Outside of a WWE house show in like 2007.
It could have been.
You're right.
Any number of people.
You're right. It was on right next to Harry Buffalo, the prime spot. But you were on it. You were on the flyer. Passion John Thorne.
That's weird.
I think Butcher was on it. Jerry the Butcher was on it.
Oh,
because I remember the mask.
I don't. Well, it was probably me and Ricky.
And Duke. It might have been you and Ricky. And Duke was definitely on it because I remember whole Alpha Beta Duke was on it. So I started getting into that, and I remember watching AIW. I'd check YouTube shit and a little Smart Mark here and there, but
I mean, you guys from this younger generation got it so easy. You just type it in on the YouTube.
Sure.
You used to have to pay $20 for a VHS dub tape to see 2 hours of wrestling.
Sheesh.
Think about that in today's economy, Like, think about if you had to pay $20 every 2 hours that you watched.
Jeez. Damn. But yeah, so I don't know. Like, I like Chikara a lot because I was going through nothing crazy in my life, but just not where I want. I don't know, personal stuff, I guess. Parents,
Was
family.
wrestling like an outlet?
Exactly. So wrestling was somewhere I can get away to, and I thought WWE was all right. I loved Impact. I thought TNA was sweet. And then, Chikara was like, okay, I can get away and like watch this wacky world of Chikara. But Eddie Kingston was someone I could always really relate to because, I was listening to rap music, and I'm being pretty candid right now with you. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
So, I listen to rap music, and I just felt like me and Kingston, I could relate to him, right?
Do you think Eddie Kingston stands out in that atmosphere?
Yeah.
Because he is a real person in this world of comic book characters and very just like elaborate backstories and very eccentric things. Do you think that's why Eddie Kingston stands out to you so much?
I think so. Because he was, he was real, and definitely relatable, like you're saying, Like some of the other guys I could just get lost in, or like, I like the ice creams. I was like, oh, these dudes are sweet, but I was never like, oh, okay, cool. But like Eddie Kingston, I was like, okay, like I kind of see what he's talking about. Like
because he was an actual human person,
exactly,
in the like a world of living cartoon characters,
right. So, yeah, exactly, like you're saying, perfect. So I definitely related to him, and like I really got into indie wrestling. I was trying to watch as much as possible, and I always related to Kingston, and I always really enjoyed his stuff.
What's the first indie wrestling show you go to?
What's up?
What's the first ever indie wrestling show you went to?
I went to, it's when Chikara teamed up with you guys. The sand laying in the gutter staring at the stars.
At the West Park Party Center?
West Park Party Center.
Oh, wow.
And I was pissed because my two favorites, Eddie Kingston and Larry Sweeney, weren't on the Chikara show.
Oh, wow.
That's the two I went out to see, but, I got to see Quack. That was cool. I got to see Drake. I love Drake Younger.
Was Drake Younger on it? Chikara?
Here's a little fun fact. I saw Drake eating. I got a picture with Drake after, and I was so in awe. I was so hyped. And he got Subway from next door. And I was like, holy shit. Like, Drake Younger eats. And it's crazy saying it now because, we know Drake or whatever. Or I kind of just hear stories from you guys. But, like, he's just eating Subway after the show. I'm like, this dude's just a real dude. But I thought he was like a superhero because he's going through fucking glass every weekend, every night, going through barbed wire. And it's like, oh, he does regular stuff. And that's when it kind of broke it down to me. I know that's me.
Me and Biggins had some wild nights with Larry Sweeney back in the day. Biggins and Larry Sweeney were pretty tight. We would got in some weird situations with Larry Sweeney, which probably shouldn't be mentioned on this podcast.
There you go. That's how we do it.
Larry Sweeney and Eddie Kingston had like I always say, like wrestling builds these weird friendships. Like Larry Sweeney and Eddie Kingston were super, super tight.
Yeah. And I love that. Watching it as a fan, I loved when they were wrestling each other or whatever they did together. That was my favorite stuff.
My favorite thing that I ever saw those guys do, I know we're getting a little off track, but I believe the story was Larry Sweeney's sister was going to college.
Amazing. This is my favorite video.
And they did like a strap match in a backyard at Colgate University. Yeah. And like they were gigging and like all kinds of crazy shit.
The best is the promo before. Kingston's got Sweeney's sister on his lap, and he's like, "I'm with your sister right now," and then he comes in and attacks him. It's just like, dude.
Yeah, they're wild times. Like that was a wild era of indie wrestling for sure because it was just like like wrestling now is like quote unquote so much more popular or something, but like
sure.
At that time, like indie wrestlers had like a rock star almost kind of aura about them, like like Larry Sweeney or Eddie Kingston or a Necro Butcher. Like they carry themselves as like a different type of way than how you see people carry themselves now.
For sure, even like Hero and Claudio, they had a vibe too.
Yeah, like it's just like such a different vibe now.
For sure.
But yeah, Larry Sweeney was a good dude.
That's awesome.
There was a time where he kind of started to lose it, and he was writing these crazy-ass MySpace blogs trying to start his own promotion called Babow.
Yeah, and him outside of WrestleMania working dudes.
I remember Drake Younger would always talk about the Babow stuff when he was in town, and He said one time they were somewhere in Chicago, and Larry Sweeney was like just all brothered out in like Zubaz and a Robert jacket.
Wow.
And like he just saw him on the street or something. And he said, "Drake, sell for me, baby." And he just started working, working a match on the street.
That is unreal.
But
that's wild.
Back to you.
Yeah. Thanks.
So Eddie Kingston and Chikara and all
Yep.
these things.
Sweeney. Yeah. So I went to that show you guys put on with them, which was pretty wild. And I was always watching PWO. You know what I mean? So it was cool, like seeing some, like Justice and Bev all around, whatever. But yeah, that show was sweet, and then I went to. Should I keep going on that, or should I get back to the match?
No, whatever.
Well, I went to the King of Trios in 2009, and
I think I was there.
Yeah, was it 08 or 09? Which one?
I went like,
to Johnny Saint one.
I went. I don't know if I was there. I went years in a row though.
Okay,
like 3 or 4 years in a row. I don't know if that was the year that Team AIW was in.
Okay.
But I went multiple years in a row. Like
I was so blessed to see all these guys and like just watch all different styles. Which is like King of Trios, but I finally got to see Kingston. But for anyone that watched Chikara out there, he was in the Roughnecks, which wasn't Kingston really. You know what I mean? It was him, Brody Lee, and Grizzly Redwood, which was cool to see him. But I was like, nah, it's not the Kingston. I wanted to see Puerto Rican Pleather Pants Kingston. You know what I mean?
Right.
So wild stuff. So Beef Wellington was there from CZW.
Yeah, I don't think I was at this one then.
And he trained this dude when he was 14, Shane Hawk, our boy from WrestleMania.
Yes, sir.
So I went up to him because I read it on Wikipedia. You know what I mean? That's all I had access to. I went up to him and I said, "Hey, man, I heard you trained Shane Hawk when he was 14. Well, I'm 14. You want to train me?" And he's like, "Nah, man, I can't do that." I was like, "Really, man? You can't train me? I bought a shirt. Like, come on." "Nah, man, I can't do that." And then I was like, I was kind of down, like, oh shit, I'm not getting into wrestling, right? I gotta wait a little bit. And I turn around, and then all of a sudden, Mitch Ryder's over there.
Oh, brother!
Said, "Oh, you're trying to be a wrestler, huh?"
I bet you he fucking offered to train you.
Yeah, he looked me up and down. 14-year-old me, braces, about 110 pounds, looks me up and down. "It's not gonna be easy, kid. A lot of long rides and bologna sandwiches."
Mitch Ryder, he had a hot run in that era too, man.
Hell yeah.
He was everywhere.
And then he gave me a card with his info on it, and I have it in my room with his phone
I don't know
number.
what him and Chikara's falling out was. I think maybe, I can't really remember off the top of my head at this very moment, but I remember JT Lightning started booking Mitch Ryder like late Cleveland All Pro.
Yeah.
Like this is when Mitch Ryder his whole run is over, Like he was in CZW, IWA, Chikara. Like this is years.
XCW is
XCW fucking Midwest or whatever.
with Necro.
This is years after all of that. JT started bringing him in.
Yeah.
And like Biggins was just such an indie wrestling fucking just fanatic. He would like get him going and like Mitch Ryder would be like, "Oh fuck, quack," and like he would just like go on these tangents and like because Biggins was on all the message boards and he knew like all the dirt on everything and like he would know how to just kind of fucking like
tease it enough,
work him into a fucking frenzy. And
exactly.
He would get Mitch Ryder all going, "That fucking fuck Ian, fuck Quack, man, fucking fuck Zandig," and like he would just get him going all the time. JT brought him in like a bunch of times until I think they even had a falling out or something. Yeah.
Wow. I remember like JC Ice was with them. Right? It wasn't Jamie
Oh
Dundee
yeah. That was a crazy Cleveland All Pro story where like they were all like thinking about beating up JT or something because it was a bad draw. They thought they weren't going to get their money.
God.
Like JC Ice, Brian Christopher, and fucking Mitch Ryder.
Oh my God, what a
Southern
squad.
Brothers, dude.
That's amazing. Yeah.
But this podcast is about you.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just wanted to throw that backstory in and that. So so all full circle, me and Dr. Dan went to Chikara to train with Quack at the masterclass weekend. And it was solid. We'd learned some stuff. And, I'm starting to hear rumors that it's going to be me and Donst at Wrestle Rager. Okay. I'm like, Dan, would you want to go to the Rocky sign or the Rocky statue and film a promo me? And I'll call out Donst or say, "Hey, Donst, I heard this match." Whatever, because there was the Barkley Nation. And we got to it in December, but that was the rumor going around. Never heard anything about it. We never talked about it. And then all of a sudden, one day, I wake up at Friday, 9 a.m., I have one notification. AIW tagged you in a post on Twitter. All right, let's see what it is. Open it up. Me and Eddie Kingston at Wrestle Rager.
Oh, I didn't tell you in advance.
No, you didn't let me know. I saw it, and that was probably a week before. And, like, I'm not saying... It's not like my heart dropped or my stomach dropped, but it was just like, wow.
That was your guy.
That was my guy, and now I'm going one-on-one with him.
That's weird.
That was wild.
That's
that was
weird.
Very weird, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember what happened, how things got moved. I think...
Didn't he have a Ring of Honor shot or something?
Oh, Donst? Yeah. I think he pulled off.
Right.
Because he was getting on Future of Honor, which, they've tried to get their, like, developmental thing going multiple times or whatever. And he's like, man, they're really trying to get me on,
it was like in Philly
thing.
too, I think, right?
So I was like, so that is why, I had to make the switch, like,
because I had no clue. I'm hearing dance, and then I never saw anything, and I'm like, am I even on the show? Like, because Wrestle Rager 2, Danny Havoc against Donst, that whole show was epic, and like, just from setting up shows and being there, I was like, dude, this is a show I'm gonna be on, no matter what. Like, it's just a party. It's if you've been to Wrestle Rager, and if you watched it, you can feel it. So. I'm like, am I wrestling Dance? What's going on? And then I wake up and I get that notification that I'm wrestling Kingston. And I was like, all right. And it was pretty much
that's weird that, that's how it's like fate for you.
For sure. All full circle, man. And that was like my first real singles match, too, which is even crazier.
That's
so
crazy, too.
You just throw me to the wolves. But I appreciate it because you're giving me the opportunity, and you knew that's my guy.
And the thing that's, Eddie Kingston is, to his detriment, is a teacher, whether it is the hard way or the easy way. Sure. He cannot help but make people learn. And if you look through the annals of time of the AIW school, so many students have locked up with Kingston one way or another, whether it's a Frankie Flynn or a PB Smooth or, different combinations, or he's in a scramble with multiple students. Like, he is a guy that he is one of those few guys. Alex Shelley tweeted it after the Akron show that, like, Kingston is a independent wrestling gatekeeper. And he has, love him or hate him, he has so much knowledge that he probably doesn't even understand that is in his brain, and he can't help but teach somebody something at some point.
And he did. He taught me a lot of things.
And so that's why he's always kind of my, like, go-to guy if I have somebody that's new, and to expedite the learning process, so to speak.
For sure, and I appreciate that. That was some bucket list stuff. Just getting in the ring with them, getting on Wrestle Rager. But there was some more bucket list stuff. And if you really want me to pull the curtain back, we're going to have to bump this up to another $5 on Patreon. We're going up another $5 tier to hear the next part. Well, we'll get to it when we talk about the match. But just the build-up and everything, everyone's like, oh, you got Kingston. And I'm like, this is... People inspired me to be an independent wrestler.
People didn't even realize probably the pressure on yourself.
Oh, right. For sure.
Because a lot of these guys come in, they don't know who Eddie Kingston is until they get accustomed to, like, the locker room,
Yeah, they get in the face.
But, like, they get accustomed to being in the locker room. That's how they know him, But you are a fan, like, years and years and years long fan of his.
Right. Yeah, unreal. So he gets there. Him and Steve Guy pull up. They're there super late. But, like, it's weird because, like, I still get nervous all the time. I'm still so new. I've only been wrestling for a year and a half. But, at that time, I was only in, like, 2 months. 3 months, maybe. And I was just focused, Like, I was really looking forward to it. Like, I knew he was going to beat the shit out of me. But, I was going to give it back. But, like, I knew, like, I know everything he does. Everything he does. You know what I mean? Like, I've watched every match. You know what I mean? I know everything. So, not everything. I'm sorry. I don't say, whatever. But, like, I knew what he does, I'm looking forward to it, and whatever he wants to do, I know he's going to be able to do it. And we had a good turnout, so I knew it was going to be, I was just looking forward to it. But, we kept it simple, and, like, watching the match back, I definitely could have done better.
That's every
my
wrestler.
stuff.
Yeah.
For sure. But at the same time, like, it was just surreal to be in there with him, and that's why I think it's my favorite match. But, to the match itself, he beat the shit out of me. laid it into Barkley Nation, you know.
You know, you're a new kid in the game.
Exactly,
you know?
exactly. But I was giving it back, and it's crazy because, like, I'm not gonna lie, I was hitting him like as hard as I could, and he's just like not even phased.
Not phased.
Yeah. So I kind of realized that. I was like, oh, damn, this dude's a fucking beast. So, you know, it was just
I mean, it's just he has a calloused body, you know?
Exactly. Calloused body is a perfect way to describe it. So it's like, I'm like, okay, dude, like, I just got to survive.
Yeah,
you know?
it's all about survival. You got to change. You got to go from offense to just fucking survive.
I just got to survive and just stay with him.
You got to run the clock out.
Exactly.
Dude. You're playing a clock game.
Get
at that
to
point.
this. Okay, I got to get here. I got to get here. But I'm like, if I got an opening, I'm hitting him as hard as I can. So he wasn't even feeling it. But back to the bucket list stuff. This is super insider stuff, and it's like, you know, we might have to bump it up a tier because I don't normally talk like this. But I hit so many bucket list things in the match. First off was, God, I don't know if I want to say this.
Say it.
First off was, you know, wrestling on Wrestle Rager. Second off was the pinnacle, wrestling Eddie Kingston, but also making someone laugh in a match. You know, you always hear stories in these shoot interviews. The guy's like, oh, me and him were having a conversation about the next town, all the Rizzies and all that, you know.
Yeah.
So.
You're a big, for those that don't know, you're an obsessed shoot interview
Oh,
fan.
yeah. Love them. Love them. Send me them if you got good ones. So he's giving me fish hooks at a point in the match. And he comes, and then later he asked me, he's like, what's up? He heard me say something, you know, I like muttered something under my breath. And he said, what'd you say? I go, your fingers smell like Newports. And he goes, ha! And then lit me up with the fucking hardest chop I've probably ever taken in my life.
Oh, my God.
But I was like, okay, that's cool. You know what I mean?
That's funny.
Yeah. So, but no, I thought the match, like, it was just sweet to be in there, you know? Like, even though he was beating me up, I was staying alive and, like, watching it back, you know, I could have done definitely, you know, some stuff better, but... And there were some times where I was definitely dazed, and for about a week and a half after that, I felt like absolute crap still. But, yeah, it was just surreal to be in there, and, like, it just... you know, not reignited, but just even added more to the flame of wanting to be a solid professional wrestler. Like you're saying, you know, he can work with anybody and also teach them something. Like,
right.
You see what he's doing now, and it's like, I want to be up to that level one day. You know, I'm not anywhere close now, but it's like...
It's the only way you can get some of that
it's
knowledge.
It's not even just, okay, Eddie Kingston's really good. I want to be on his level so I can do this. But it's also like, and this is kind of weird, you know, like saying this, but I went up to him when I first saw him when you brought him in and I was a student. And I went up to him. I was like, you're a reason why I wanted to become a professional wrestler. Like, take me under your wing. You know, I'm trying to say that. But he thought I was just being some fanboy, you know?
Right.
So I was like, hey, if you have any advice, let me know. And he gave me some good advice. But, like, back to what I'm saying about the match is, like, after that, it lit the fire. But it's like, I want to be good in his eyes. Like, he doesn't owe me anything, you know, and I don't owe him anything. But I want him to,
you
like...
want his approval because...
Exactly.
It's like...
You got me into being a professional wrestler.
It's like when the fan becomes the peer, you know? Like...
Exactly.
I don't even know if you just want to be accepted onto his level because he inspired you. So
For
it's
sure.
like...
But I don't want to be the guy that's like, hey, you inspired me. And he's like, oh, he's a solid hand. I want it to be like, yo, this kid can go.
Right.
And so that's pretty much it. And it's like, you know, I know we wrestled like a year ago, but it's like I'd love whenever in the future to get in the ring with him again because I got to beat him. You know, that's how I get his approval if I beat him.
Right.
Because he got on the mic after, which was crazy because I'm like half knocked out and a brawl almost starts. And, you know, Barkley Nation was going wild, and they didn't realize how big of a moment it was when he's on the stick after the match, you know, and it's like, hey, you got heart, you know, you gave it all your it, but you don't need the crowd, whatever. And they're throwing beers at him and that. But, you know, so it was pretty raucous atmosphere, but it's like, you know, I want to get to his level, I want his approval, and I want him to think that I can go and that I'm a superstar.
So, like, when it's all said and done, I know you said you watched it back and you could have did some things better. When that bell rings,
yeah,
what's the feeling?
I'm seeing Tweety birds first and foremost. He gave me like 2 lariats. Like, I don't know if you were putting the match on while you're watching this, but he gives me like a clothesline or a lariat, smokes me. I'm seeing stars. Picks me right back up, gives me another one, smokes me. Oh, here's another funny story. Whatever, we go. He gives me a brain buster. Sweet. Looks sweet. I'm not even gassing myself up. Breaks me in half. 1 count. I'm up, right? And I'm
Probably
thinking
didn't
about
like
this
that.
backstage,
Probably
right?
didn't like that.
What's up?
Probably didn't like that, huh?
No, well, he's saying it. He's saying kick out at 1. Okay, kick out at 1, but backstage, Swoggle, hey, kick out at 1. Don't flick him off. Spit on him.
Oh, no.
Spit on him. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? What are you getting me into? Kingston's like, I don't normally let people do that, but you could do that. And I'm like, are you guys going to fucking kill me? What's going on? So I did it. I hate spitting on people. I never have before. That was never my cup of tea. But Swoggle said, you better spit on him, dude. So I spit on him because, I don't know, maybe Swoggle's trying to fuck with me. Spit on him, flicked him off, and then he just smoked me, bang, 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 and then back fisted me. So when that happened, bell rings. I'm trying to get my breath. I'm definitely dazed. Clemens is checking on me. Shout out to Jake. And I'm just like, wow. Hopefully he gets on the mic. That's my first thought. Hopefully he gets on the mic. I'm looking.
That's kind of like the approval, yeah.
For sure. And if he left, I would have been really upset with myself. Or if he just was like, yeah.
You would have known he was pissed.
Yeah. Or if he was just like, hey, you were right, kid. And left. Whatever. But he got on the stick. He was talking shit to the crowd. Talking shit to the crowd. And then he's like, you got heart. And then we shook hands. And I was like, all right, man. That was it. That was worth it. You know what I mean? I got through. No, that was worth it. But you know what I mean?
It was worth surviving that.
Exactly. And this, yeah. So I survived. I got through it. Shook hands with him. And, for a first singles match, it wasn't, I don't think it was that bad. It was all right. But
that's crazy to think about.
Yeah. And I appreciate you for giving me the opportunity.
That's what I do. I make dreams happen, bro.
Exactly. And if you didn't listen to the beginning of this podcast, this is an absolute dream.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy how it came full circle.
For sure. And so early on.
I mean, that's kind of the benefit of the AIW school is
understatement for sure.
Trying to fit those pieces together and help you guys learn from these few veterans that are still around.
Right.
It's just crazy that it worked out to where it's like the guy for you.
Yeah, 100%.
So early on. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much more we can add. I think this is like a perfect. I'm just
saying, no, exactly. Yeah, if you want to end on it, that's fine. I was just saying,
what else you got?
Well, I was just gonna say, you put me in there, no matter which way we went from it, and how my character blossomed. That was still a huge milestone in the career. You know what I mean? So looking at who Wes Barkley is, the debut match, the Menor match, now a match with Kingston. You know what I mean? Wherever we went from there, they still saw the handshake. They still saw him beat the shit out of me.
It like established you or whatever.
Exactly.
Like you got beaten to the gang that night.
Right. So I think the only thing is, maybe we'll end it on this. And hey, I'm not trying to say anything, but, to get this approval, I do got to beat him. And when he said he was going to retire, it really ate me up because, I love seeing him wrestle, but also I couldn't let him retire without me beating him.
Well, that is to be determined.
Hey, if Eddie Kingston, if you're listening, just know I got my eyes on you.
He's a Patreon subscriber.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah, Eddie Moore. He's in the $15 tier.
Okay. That's what's up.
All right, guys.
Well, I appreciate you having me on.
That is another episode of my favorite match ever. Until next time, see you later.